Welcome to tonight's top news stories from around the world. You are watching Millennium News Hour and I am Tanziba Noreen. Let's get started with the headlines making waves right now. Trump imposed new import tariffs to strengthen U.S. manufacturing. Trump's tariffs shake global markets, sending dollar lower and gold higher. Trump fired senior staffers at National Security Council amid loyalty concerns. Elon Musk to stay as advisor to Trump after leaving government role, says J.D. Vance. Pentagon watchdog to review Hexat's use of signal for Yemen strike discussions. Eric Adams to run as independent in New York mayoral race after corruption charges dismissed. Canada hits back at U.S. tariffs with new 25% tax on American cars. UK investigated Prince Harry's charity over governance issues. Hungary announced ICC exit as Netanyahu visited Budapest. Bangladesh's chief advisor Dr. Yunus issued trade resolution after US announced 37% tariff. Miami faces setback as LAFC edges out Messi's side 1-0 in Champions Cup. And USA bids solely for 2031 Women's World Cup, UK to host 2035 tournament. You were listening to Headlines, now news in detail. President Trump announced two new tariffs on April 2nd, calling it Liberation Day. He said these tariffs would help reduce the trade deficit and bring manufacturing back to the U.S. The first tariff is a 10% universal import duty on all goods entering the U.S. The second is a reciprocal tariff on imports from 90 countries. Trump said this would match the high tariffs that some countries charge on American goods. Trump gave an example, saying the US charges a 2.5% tariff on imported cars, while the European Union charges 10% on American cars. He said this imbalance has hurt U.S. industries. Economists warned that the new tariffs could raise prices for American consumers. A Goldman Sachs report predicted inflation could rise by 0.5 percentage points by the end of the year. The 10% tariff will start at 12:01 a.m. on April 5th, and the reciprocal tariffs will take effect at 12:01 a.m. on April 9th. Some countries like China and Vietnam will face much higher tariffs. Trump said these actions would make the U.S. economy stronger. The dollar and stock markets dropped sharply after President Trump's announcement of new tariffs, stoking fears of a global trade war that could lead to recession and higher inflation. The dollar fell 2.6% against the euro, its biggest drop in a decade, and also lost value against the yen and British pound. Stock markets also plunged, with Tokyo's Nikkei losing over 4% and US futures falling. Key sectors like auto, luxury, and banking suffered significant losses. In Europe, Paris led the declines, while London saw smaller drops due to milder tariffs on Britain. Oil prices fell by 4.5%, but gold soared to a record $3,167.84 per ounce as investors sought safer assets. In response, China vowed countermeasures and urged the U.S. to reverse the tariffs. Japan expressed regret, while the EU and France prepared to retaliate. Other nations, including Canada and Thailand, also signaled plans for counteractions. Markets are now bracing for further instability, with fears that the U.S. Federal Reserve may need to lower interest rates to avoid a recession. At least 3 senior staff members at the National Security Council were fired, with more expected to follow, according to U.S. officials. The dismissals came after right-wing personality Laura Loomer presented President Trump with opposition research on NSC staff, accusing them of being neoconservatives or not loyal enough to the president. Those fired included Brian Walsh, Senior Director for Intelligence, Thomas Budry, Senior Director for Legislative Affairs, and David Faith, Senior Director. Loomer is reportedly targeting other staff members, including Alex Wong, the Deputy National Security Advisor to Mike Waltz. Loomer had previously questioned Wong's loyalty on social media. The firings come as part of an ongoing effort to reshape the NSC and address concerns about loyalty within the team. NSC spokesman Brian Hughes declined to comment on personal matters. This purge follows increased scrutiny of Waltz, who faced questions after inadvertently including Atlantic editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg in a conversation about Yemen attack plans. Further changes at the NSC are expected as Trump continues to tighten control over his staff. Billionaire Elon Musk will continue to be a friend and advisor to President Trump after he steps down from his government role. Vice President J.D. Vance confirmed. Musk has been working with the Department of Government Efficiency as a special government employee, but his term is set to end in late May or early June, as he can only serve in the role for 130 days. Vance explained that Musk was tasked with making government more efficient, a mission that would take about 6 months, and Musk agreed to the challenge. Despite his departure, Vance emphasized that Musk would remain closely involved, offering advice to both him and the president. The work Musk started at Doge, including uncovering wasteful government grants, will continue after his departure. Vance also dismissed reports that Musk would be leaving sooner, calling the news fake. As a special government employee, Musk is exempt from some ethics rules, and it is unclear what steps the White House will take if he stays beyond his term limit. We will be back after a short break. Till then, stay with us. This world continuously revolving around various events. Every minute, every second, something is happening somewhere around the globe, and you want to get connected to that event or to that specific moment. Here we come, Millennium News Hour, to get you connected with top USA and international trending news, which includes local news, political news, world news, business news, health and science-related news, entertainment news, sports news, and so on. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for OLED TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network, and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with Millennium News Hour to get the world news on your feed. Welcome back to Millennium News Hour. The Pentagon's Inspector General announced that it would evaluate Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's use of the Signal app to discuss military strikes against the Houthis in Yemen last month. The review will assess whether Hegseth and other Department of Defense personnel followed DoD policies on using commercial messaging apps for official business and complied with classification and records retention rules. The evaluation follows requests from lawmakers for an investigation into the use of Signal for discussing sensitive strike details, including weapon systems and launch times. Messages shared by Hegseth on Signal reportedly disappeared after a week, raising concerns about whether proper records were kept. While Hickson denied sharing classified information, some lawmakers and experts questioned whether the details shared were sensitive. The investigation, led by Acting Inspector General Stephen Stebbins, will help determine if the use of signal violated any regulations. Some Democrats have called for Hickson's resignation over this matter. New York City Mayor Eric Adams announced that he would run for re-election as an independent, bypassing the Democratic primary. This decision came one day after a federal judge dismissed corruption charges against him. Adams stated that he would prioritize New Yorkers over party politics and called for independent leadership that understands the working people. The charges, including bribery and wire fraud, were dismissed by U.S. District Judge Del Ho, who ruled that the accusations would not be used against Adams in the future. The Justice Department had previously moved to dismiss the charges, stating they would hinder the mayor's ability to govern. Adams explained that he felt uninhibited after the case was dismissed and planned to run a campaign focusing on a broad base of supporters outside Manhattan. He emphasized his record on housing, crime reduction, and job creation, contrasting it with other candidates. Independent candidate Jim Walton challenged Adams to a debate following the announcement. Now it's time for global updates. Canada announced a 25% tax on U.S. vehicles after President Trump imposed tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminum, and cars. Prime Minister Mark Carney called the U.S. tariffs unjustified and misguided. Carney said the new Canadian tax would apply only to vehicles that do not meet the North American free trade rules, excluding auto parts and cars from Mexico. He also stated that the revenue from the tariffs would support Canadian workers and businesses affected by the trade dispute. The trade tensions happened during Canada's election campaign. Carney's Liberal Party gained support in recent weeks, partly due to Trump's trade actions. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre promised to fight the tariffs and push for a new trade deal if elected. Ontario, Canada's industrial hub, is expected to be hit the hardest. A Windsor car plant already shut down for 2 weeks, affecting 3,500 workers. Ontario Premier Doug Ford supported Carney's stance, saying Canada must negotiate from a position of strength. The UK's Charity Commission launched an investigation into Centable, the charity founded by Prince Harry and Prince Cecil in 2006. The commission said it would examine whether current and former trustees, including the chair, fulfilled their responsibilities. Harry supported the inquiry, saying it would reveal the truth behind the recent leadership dispute. Last week, he and Prince Cecil resigned after a conflict with board chair Sophie Chandoka, who was asked to step down. She later sued to stay in her position and accused Harry of harassment, bullying, and abuse of power. Despite her claims, Chandoka said she had a great relationship with Harry. She welcomed the investigation, saying it would bring clarity. The Charity Commission stated that it aimed to ensure trustees acted in the charity's best interest. Harry now lives in California with his wife Meghan and their children. The investigation is expected to determine the charity's future direction. We will be back after a short break. Till then, stay with us. This world continuously revolving around various events. Every minute, every second, something is happening somewhere around the globe, and you want to get connected to that event or to that specific moment. Here we come, Millennium News Hour, to get you connected with top USA and international trending news, which includes local news, political news, world news, business news, health and science-related news, entertainment news, sports news, and so on. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for OLED TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network, and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with Millennium News Hour to get the world news on your fist. Welcome back to Millennium News Hour. You are watching latest global updates. Hungary announced it would leave the International Criminal Court as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited Budapest. The decision came after the ICC issued an arrest warrant for Netanyahu over alleged war crimes in Gaza. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban said the ICC had become a political court and was no longer fair. Netanyahu rejected the ICC charges, praised Hungary's move and called the court corrupt. Orban's government started the withdrawal process, which will take 1 year. Despite leaving, Hungary is still required to cooperate with the ICC until the process is complete. Experts believe Netanyahu is trying to reduce the impact of the ICC decision and restore his ability to travel freely. His visit to Hungary followed U.S. sanctions against the ICC, which President Trump imposed earlier this year. Netanyahu is expected to stay in Hungary until Sunday as he faces growing legal and political pressure at home. Bangladesh's chief advisor, Dr. Mohammad Yunus, said he was hopeful about resolving the tariff issue through talks with the U.S. government. The U.S. recently imposed a 37% tariff on Bangladeshi imports as part of President Donald Trump's reciprocal tariff policy. Dr. Yunus stated that the government was reviewing the matter and planned to negotiate for the best outcome. His press secretary Shafiqul Alam said discussions were still in the early stages and that Bangladesh was working to strengthen trade relations with the U.S. Bangladesh was also assessing tariffs on U.S. imports and the National Board of Revenue was exploring options to adjust them. Officials believed ongoing cooperation with the U.S. government would help find a solution. The U.S. remained Bangladesh's biggest export market, and both sides aimed for a trade deal that benefited both countries. Bangladesh planned to keep communicating with U.S. officials to ensure a fair resolution. Let's have a look on today's sports stories. Los Angeles FC shocked Lionel Messi and Inter Miami with a 1-0 win in the first leg of their CONCACAF Champions Cup quarterfinal. Nathan Ordez scored the only goal of the match in the 57th minute, giving LAFC a crucial lead heading into next week's return leg in Florida. Miami, unbeaten in 9 matches this season, struggled to break through LAFC's defense. After a tense first half, LAFC's intensity grew and they capitalized on a mistake by Miami. Ordaz's powerful shot past Miami goalkeeper Oscar Usteri was enough to secure the win for the home side. Messi, making his first start since an injury layoff, was unable to make an impact, with LAFC's defense keeping him in check. Miami had few chances, with defender Maxi Falcon coming closest. LAFC's Hugo Lloris kept the visitors at bay, and Messi's free kick in stoppage time missed the target. The United States emerged as the sole bidder for the 2031 Women's World Cup, while the United Kingdom is set to host the 2035 tournament. FIFA President Gianni Infantino confirmed. Speaking at the UEFA Congress in Belgrade, Infantino stated, "We have received one bid for 2031 from the USA and possibly other CONCACAF members, and a valid bid for 2035 from the UK, including England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland." FIFA plans to expand the Women's World Cup from 32 to 48 teams by 2031. Infantino's announcement followed the UK's submission of an expression of interest last month. The FIFA chief also clarified that European and African countries were eligible to bid for 2035, with the UK being the only current contender. The United States confirmed its bid for 2031 in March, while South Africa and Morocco are no longer in the running. The next Women's World Cup will take place in Brazil in 2027. We will be back after a short break. Till then, stay with us. This world continuously revolving around various events. Every minute, every second, something is happening somewhere around the globe, and you want to get connected to that event or to that specific moment. Here we come, Millennium News Hour, to get you connected with top USA and international trending news, which includes local news, political news, world news, business news, health and science-related news, entertainment news, sports news, and so on. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for OLED TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with Millennium News Hour to get the world news on your feed. Welcome back to Millennium News Hour. Now it's time for business news. Today's New York stock close price is 19,532.74. The NYSE Composite is increased by 134.46 points or 0.69%. Tokyo stock close price is 34,735.93. The Nikkei 225 index is decreased by 989.94 points or 2.77%. Shanghai stock close price is 3,342.01. The Shanghai index is decreased by 8.12 points or 0.24%. Hong Kong stock close price is 22,849.81. The Hang Seng index is decreased by 352.72 points or 1.52%. Bombay stock close price is 76,295.36. The Sensex index is decreased by 322.08 points or 0.42%. Let's have a look on today's weather forecast. before finishing today's news, let's hear out the headlines again. Trump imposed new import tariffs to strengthen U.S. manufacturing. Trump's tariffs shake global markets, sending dollar lower and gold higher. Trump fired senior staffers at National Security Council amid loyalty concerns. Elon Musk to stay as advisor to Trump after leaving government role, says J.D. Vance. Pentagon watchdog to review Hexat's use of Signal for Yemen strike discussions. Eric Adams to run as independent in New York mayoral race after corruption charges dismissed. Canada hits back at U.S. tariffs with new 25% tax on American cars. UK investigated Prince Harry's charity over governance issues. Hungary announced ICC exit as Netanyahu visited Budapest. Bangladesh's chief advisor Dr. Yunus issued trade resolution after US announced 37% tariff. Miami faces setback as LAFC edges out Messi's side 1-0 in Champions Cup. And USA bids solely for 2031 Women's World Cup, UK to host 2035 tournament. That's all for today. Keep watching Millennium News Hour for latest news update. To stay updated, like our Facebook page, subscribe our YouTube channel and visit our websites. Our website addresses are www.millenniumnews24.com and www.millenniumtv24.com. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for all smart TVs and Roku TV, Amazon TV, Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia, available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network, and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with us for all the latest news worldwide. Thank you.